Oh, yeah. Tempers are flaring in France. France protests. Police threaten to join protesters, demand better pay and conditions. Holy smokes. The Yellow Vest movement. What is going on, people? Let's see here if there's any music. I don't want music. I don't care about music. Police in Paris have fired tear gas on protesters. Anti-government protests turned violent on December 8th. So this has been going on for a couple weeks. So if you've been living under a rock, wake up, people. Up to 5,000 demonstrators have gathered in Champs-Élysées. Sorry, I can't read French. And at least 272 people have been arrested. I heard it was like 700 people. Paris is now plagued by worst since November 17th. As the Yellow Vest movement opposed fuel tax rises. So far, 4 people have been killed in accidents. And dozens were injured in violence. So, this is not looking good, guys. I hope they could figure something out. French government is desperately trying to keep its exhausted police force on side following weeks of violent protests demanding economic reforms, improving living standards, and resignation of President Emmanuel Macron. So here's the Yellow Vest. Let's go back to basics. One, in Europe, in many countries in Europe, you need to have a yellow vest in your car or your vehicle, motorcycle seat, like wherever you carry storage. You need to have a yellow vest by law to keep track. If something happens or there's an emergency and you break down, you got a yellow vest you can put on at night and you can be seen. It's just a law they have for protecting the citizens that are operating vehicles. Now, people have been using those vests and turning around and using them as a protest, which has been gaining a lot of steam. It's hit parts of Israel. It's hit parts of the UK, most of France, parts of Italy, parts of Greece. So there's a yellow vest movement, and the media is doing a really good job trying to keep it under wraps, right? So now it looks like the police and the public sector jobs are going to start joining the protests because they can't. But here's the problem is Macaroni and Cheese, President Macaroni and Cheese, can't pay the police more because they're broke. And if they pay the police more because it is a public sector, they have to tax the people more. So how the heck do you fix this problem? So the police are realizing that there's no way they could get this like balanced. So a lot of police are realizing that they're going to have to change sides, right? And go to the right side or the leaning or right-leaning side or whatever you want to call it, you know? On Wednesday, French officials met with police to trade union leaders to work a deal to soothe the anger in law enforcement ranks regarding overwork, unpaid time, and difficult working conditions. Yeah, for sure. If people are dying around you in the rubber bullets and tear gas, you don't want to be in that. You want to be home with your family. But some activists are calling on police to walk out the government negotiations, close down the police stations, and join the Gilets Jaunes. That means yellow vest, I guess, in French. Or yellow vest protesters, with whom they have been facing off since November 17. Negotiations between 3 unions, alliances, the UNSA, Police and Unity, SGPFO, and Interior Minister Christophe Canistiner on Tuesday failed to reach a settlement. As talks resumed on Wednesday, France 24 reported the activists were calling on forces across the country to commit to a slowdown and only respond to emergencies until the dispute has been settled. Police have accumulated more than 23 million hours of overtime, holy crap, and that is not yet paid. According to the local France police, union leader Frédéric Laganchi explained, faced with this irresponsibility of the government, we are forced to be irresponsible in our actions. So, again, Mr. President Macaroni and Cheese, the problem with this guy is he's a bankster. He worked for the world and federal banks and stuff. Was put into France because he understands the banking act and the banking system. So, all this crap kicked off because of the deflationary interest rates to save the economy in 2007 and 2008. 10 years later, it's getting out of control. And these yellow vest movements will be popping up everywhere because There's no other way to go because people have gotten to a point where the cost of living is too high, the standard of living has gone down, and everything around them is going up. Today in Vancouver, they've announced they're raising property tax. The other day, they've announced they're raising the price of gas. They're announcing everything. Everything's going up. So, guys, there's going to be a lot of yellow vest movements popping up. There's all over Canada. I made a video about that. You're going to see a lot of yellow vest movements moving around different countries. You're going to start seeing different countries starting to speak up and come to grips to what is happening. A lot of people are going to wake up to a crash course, especially if they're working in the public sector jobs, that you're going to be asked to join the private sector. And until this mess, especially in France, gets taken care of. So this would, if the police joining the protesters would severely downgrade the conditions, and people are over. And then how are they going to pay for these police? They're going to have to raise taxes, and that's what they're protesting against. So you're damned if you do, and if you're damned if you don't. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We're going to have yellow vest discussions on Mike in the Night. I want yellow vest people from all over the world that are protesting or in the protest or following the protest to join in and call the show on Mike in the Night. We're gonna get down to the, this yellow vest thing, this uprising all over the world that is basically putting a strain on police forces and keeping people, or keeping, I guess, the government's more vigilant policing. I saw lots of cops driving by here today in the last couple of days. A lot of people wearing yellow vests here in town, like 7 or 8 I've seen so far. But it's a small town. But word is getting out there. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below.